Okay, so I'm not a YouTuber, so this is just a video just to kind of show my two ponds. This is a 300-gallon pond in the front of my house. I think it's like 16 inches deep in total. Right now it's set up for the winter. It's got a homemade aerator in it that just uses a Venturi effect. The pump itself pulls the water or air through the white line and creates a little aeration. I have a little pond heater. It's actually a bird bath heater. I just throw it in there just in case this filter gets dirty. Out of all my ponds, this is the one that has some winters had a dirty filter. So it's just easier to maintain it if I need to. It's like I said, 300 gallons. I think it's 16 inches deep in the deepest area. And then in this back area, it's actually pretty shallow. I think it's maybe 5 inches deep. So that area freezes totally over the winter. But there's like 19 fish in here. I don't know if you can even see any of them, but I can see a little bit of orange of one of the fish. And these are mostly just plain old koi. Okay, so this is my big pond. I think it's probably about 2,500 gallons, might be a little less than that. I've never drained it and used a meter to fill it. Just based on basic calculations of the different areas of the pond, volumes of the different areas of the ponds, that's what I've come up with. Now in the wintertime, I run it just like I do in the summertime. So there is a little waterfall with biofalls in the back. And it just runs all winter, ices over, but the water flows underneath. This year, just as a trial, I put a piece of heater tape in there for like gutters and downspouts. Haven't turned it on yet. Sometimes I'll get a lot of ice buildup and then it'll overflow onto the top of the pond, which then actually lowers the water level below the ice. Something I'm just going to try if I need it this year. It was a cheap experiment. So the pond is basically set up as it is all summer. So you got the pump there. There's a circulator that's actually down underneath the waterfall. It just helps circulate the water at the lower levels. And then in the winter time, oops, going the wrong way. I put two aerators here just going to the inlet of the skimmer box. My thought on that is just wanted to make sure that the river of water has no obstructions to the aerator. So I know I said obstruction to the aerator, but actually I meant to the skimmer box. And so here's the skimmer box. Runs all winter, picks up whatever, does get ice into the back area of it, but I just make sure that it's good and clean in the fall. So the strainer here is clean. There's a filter underneath. I just make sure that's good and clean in the fall. Never had an issue with it in the winter. So here's a little bit more view of the waterfalls area. I don't remember what the elevation difference is, but it's probably like 3 feet, maybe just a little bit more from the top of the biofalls box down to the water level of the pond. This last area actually has a pretty good significant drop. It's probably close to 16 inches at least right there. So it's actually been pretty warm here the last 2 days, about 30 degrees. It was almost 0 degrees Fahrenheit last week for almost the whole week. The biofalls area just had a little ring of ice around the back edge, and that's it. It never closed up at all. The rest of the stream area, it had a nice total covering of ice over the whole thing. Couldn't see the water. Now there's lights underneath there, so you could see the bubbling of the water in the air at night, but that was really it. But this is how I keep the pond all winter.